Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Media Solutions stage presentation for today. We would like to welcome everyone to come to all these presentations all throughout the day. This is the first one. This is going to be covering collaboration in the production workflow and media processing. So come, gather, sit around, join us. So my name is Michael Potts. I am the Senior Director of Customer Success for the Sony Media Cloud Services Division. And what we're going to talk about today is the Sony Media Cloud platform, and specifically the Sony C product that we offer that supports all these wonderful media processing and production, post-production type workflows. So we span quite a range of opportunities in terms of how we offer these services. And one of the things that we like to point out about our platform is in fact that there are some core components that we offer around acquisition, what you can do with things in the cloud, and how you can collaborate together to generate and produce that content to the point to which you get to final. And at that point, you might be leveraging us for delivery distribution, you might be utilizing us for other needs as well, just in that review and approval process by the way in which you get to your cuts and your capability to go publish out that content or deliver that content. And then ultimately, what do you do with content in the end? You need to have some place to store that content for long term, and that's our archival solutions. I'm going to cover all of these in a presentation today, and then I'm going to switch midway through and show you a live demo. So one of the challenges that I think a lot of folks in any industry faces is, how do you get content from point A to point B and begin to leverage that transfer, not just as a transfer, not just as a movement, but rather that you can do something with that content while it's available to you in an extensible manner and geographically dispersed teams. So that's where our C file request comes in. We also have the ability for you to upload in our C workspace UI. You also have the ability to leverage our camera to cloud uploads. You might notice over here on the left-hand side, we've got a Z450 camera where it automatically uploads proxy files once you stop shooting. Start and stop, content goes right to the cloud immediately. And that content could include both proxy files and or also high-res files. So you have many options. Of course, that's all dependent upon your bandwidth. You can also leverage FTP, integrated applications, and we have our own C mobile app. So lots of flexibility in how you can acquire and attain that content. I mentioned file requests. So one of the great new things that we've added in the file request is that you can also automate the delivery of notifications, such as adding people into the file request who need to know that that content's arrived. We've also added the ability to support customizable metadata, and we do that in two ways. One, customized metadata that you enforce and require for folks who are going to provide that content in, and they have to fill that content out or not on the content being acquired with those particular files. Or we have what's called a metadata model template. And you might have a selection of different fields, even not just free text, but also drop down, multi-select, all these different things, including dependency of other fields. So all of that content and that relationship is capable. I'm going to go into more detail about that when we do the demo. So what you might not see, and we will try to outline this in the demonstration today, everything you see is auto-scalable. So there's no manually going and saying, oh, I've got to go flip a switch so we can handle the load of your processing. Or I'm uploading, terabytes of files. Oh gosh, I've got to go turn on another node to be able to handle that. All of that we do automatically. We have very unique job processing metrics and capabilities by which we modify those things on the fly, depending upon the demand. And one of the things that does for us, it means that we can scale out our transcode capability. So what we're doing there is we're enabling the ability for you to upload whatever content. We transcode to preview proxies, thumbnails, scrubbable thumbnails, scrubbable film strips, and that's all part of our ingest process. But we also transcode custom elements. So that means you give us a specification, and we're going to output that for you that you can also deliver out to whomever you need to, or automatically pull it down for your editorial needs. We can extract technical metadata, we do that as part of our ingest. We also can add, as I mentioned before, that custom metadata. So this is really key. This separates us from a cloud platform to something that, in essence, you can depend on left and right, because that searchability is added immediately as soon as that custom metadata is applied to that new content. And why would you have that metadata there? That searchability, that indexing of that content happens immediately. It takes within milliseconds for us to identify that, and you now have a great visibility across many workspaces, many networks, whatever it might be in our environment. So media boxes are our share delivery functionality. This is where you have a simple, easy to use business user interface, generate a link, anybody can go click on it that you want them to click. You can control the access to it, you control what they have access to in terms of preview, download preview proxies, download those custom elements I just talked about. You can also collaborate with other peers with using our video review and image review. And you also can get, you can track the activity. So important fact that we offer is, it's great that we do all and provide all the functionality, but what's even better is that you know, as an owner of the content and a manager of it, what's happening with that content at any point in its life cycle. You know that it's being used in a media box, a video review session, whatever it might be, or that someone downloaded it or viewed that content, and likely we're going to tell you whether they watched that whole clip or only just part of it, because that's also very helpful to know in your workflow. I mentioned before about the custom transcoding. We've added the ability for you to download those custom transcodes and leverage media boxes as a delivery distribution point. So that's a big change. So you can now upload content. We spit out a specific transcode, such as an XTCAM 50 or a DNX HD, or whatever spec transcode you're looking to do. And if you've got that for a broadcast purpose, or you're selling the rights to something, or licensing to somebody, and you need to go deliver that content out, now you've already got it ready to deliver, instead of you having to come back, pull down the master, re-transcode it again locally, re-upload it. All that takes time and a lot of effort internally. We're minimizing that impact, and we're making it streamlined so you can get that content right out immediately. And we're making sure that your team knows that's happening by giving them alerts and notifications. Now, I'd be remiss to not offer the fact that what do you do, what's the plan for that content 8-10 months down the road? Project's over, you've gone to market with it, you've hit the top level of a release, whatever it might be, and you're going to home distribution or whatever it might be. Now you're done with all that. Project's done, final release is out. What do you do with that content? Well, here's one of the rules that everyone wants to obey. Let's not lose anything. Let's make sure we keep an eye on what that content was, no matter if it was in the final cuts or whether it was the original raw or B-roll content. Because let's face it, marketing always finds a capability or a need for promos and trailers and behind-the-scenes content. So let's archive that content. You might have it on local on-prem storage, that's fine. But wouldn't it be great if you had the flexibility of knowing that something's archived in the cloud at a very low cost, such as maybe $4 per terabyte per month, just an example, and now you can actually go and store that down there, not even worry about it anymore. And by the way, all those preview proxies, customizable metadata, searchability, the ability to share the preview-only content, video review sessions, are all still there with that existing content. Only the source file gets archived. And if you need to bring it back, 3 to 5 hours, you have it right in your hands. Why do you want to do that? Because you probably want to download it. So again, acquire, produce, collaborate, archive. These are all real mainstays of the workflow that we enable in the content lifecycle. One of the things we really wanted to highlight today is a production-based workflow. So what happens when you're pulling content from the set? You might be uploading directly from the camera to see, maybe from card to see, but you might also be pulling it down and leveraging that with our MAM product called Navigator X. And that also can store it to any local on-prem storage capability, including our optical disk archive. That might be high-res, that might be proxy files. One of the unique things about the Navigator X integration with Sony C is that they will leverage our thumbnails, our proxies, instead of them having to regenerate those, so it makes a much more efficient workflow as they synchronize with the content going to the cloud. But the cloud offers you that secure offsite backup copy. It offers you that archive capability. It can auto-generate those editorial proxies or those custom render elements that I mentioned before. And here's the thing, as I mentioned, and it should be a theme, it's a scalable process. You are not having to tell us to do something. We know automatically that we need more processing, we need more help, and we scale it up and we scale it back down, because then that makes efficient the cost, and we can pass on those savings to you, so you're getting the same efficiency from a pricing and cost standpoint. And in the end, you're going to be delivering this to post, to additional archive, on-prem archive, again, optical disk archive being one of those, cloud-based archive also being one. All right, so what I'm going to do now is switch gears to the actual live demo. And what you're looking at here is a dashboard of Sony C. I've got a bunch of what we call team workspaces. Team workspaces could be any way in which you want to organize at a top level your content. It could be project, it could be title, it could be part of a workflow such as production, editorial, marketing. Anything like that in that flow of the content and or how you might want to manage it at a top level, you can manage through a team workspace. The members of that team are trusted members. They're people that you want to be in there managing the content, creating folders, uploading content, or controlling the upload and contribution to that content. And I do just want to point out, this is a web browser. Everything you're seeing here is a production level environment. This is all live, real content, used every day in a real capacity. This is not staged, there's nothing like that. This is actual real, honest to goodness, application working real time. You see the file folder structure in here. You can add content by standard upload with the Spera, uploading folder and folder structure and its contents with the Spera. You can also download with the Spera, standard download, and download entire folder hierarchy structure with the Spera. So we offer all of that capability. Oh, by the way, you don't pay for a Spera. You're not paying thousands of dollars a month for 2 to 4 gigabit upload with the Spera. That's just free, that's part of our subscription. You get that out of the box. By the way, if you have a Spera and you have nodes that you have to communicate with on a regular basis as part of your workflow, you can use our export to target. You can use it in our API, you can use it in our UI. So all of that featureful capability is part of what we offer right out of the box. Another capability we have is our file request. So I am going to show you an example of one where we have an outside contributor providing content. I want to get it in by 2 p.m. on Thursday because guess what ends on 2 p.m. on Thursday? NAB. And I have that going into a particular folder. I've identified that as incoming content, and I've also identified that I want to set it up with the custom expiration at that 2 p.m. mark. I've added a few people in there that I want to be notified as part of that content coming in, which means once a batch of content is uploaded, we'll all be notified that that whole batch has come in, and anytime new batches come in with that file request, we'll also know. By the way, that file request and the code that it generates is also used on the camera integrations to ease that capability, that content flowing in right from the camera. I talked a little bit before about metadata. So you can do completely customized metadata. So add a label, put a value in for whoever is contributing that content. You can also leverage what are called our metadata model templates. So you'll see here I have a couple fields already in there that are part of an overall model. You can have also drop-down fields, multi-select fields, etc. And it's all up to you. I can require those fields or not require them. Up to you. All right? Let me save that. And now what I'm going to do is also send that out. I can also send that out with a, I can also send that out with a distribution list. Let me copy the link there real quickly. You get a branded experience. So one moment to just talk a little bit about what branding is. So you can brand by what we call a company network. You can inherit that branding down to a team workspace. You can apply and override your own branding to the team workspace. That also includes even the login screens. So if you go in and you create a link for something such as a media box and you make it secure, or a video review work session and you make that secure, you can actually do all those things, and everybody who gets that link is getting a branded email. They click on the link, they have to log in, they get a branded login screen just to that workspace, per your client, per your partner, whoever it might be, or per your project. So if I want to go upload a given file, I can go find a file in here. I think I have some content someplace. Just put on one of these. Now I've also got that metadata that I talked about. I only have one required field, so I'm in pretty good shape there. And upload the content. Now that content's going to come in directly to C. You're going to have it right away. Look how fast it's gone. It's a small file anyway. All right. So one of the most popular features that we offer is what's called our media boxes, as I mentioned earlier. So that might be taking a select group of files here, put them in that media box. Here's the content. I can reorder the content if I want to, whatever way I want to manage it. I can add more files if I want to as well. And I can also make that secure, which means an access control list that you manage, protected with a simple password, and public also with just a general link, could be forwarded, but we also default to preview. So we try to mitigate that risk of someone making a mistake. Enabling download, you can manually do. You can also enable our preview proxies to be downloaded. Why would that be important? Well, our preview proxies, because we can read start timecode from the input source file, we can provide that as an overlay, but we also embed that timecode in the proxies. So if you want to pull down the proxies in a very light editorial workflow, you can work with those, edit with those, and apply those edits to the high-res file whenever you get those back. Custom expiration, we offer a visual overlay text watermarking, create that link. Now that can open up. Again, branded experience, similar to what you saw with the file request. Playback experience, you have the option of multiple proxies. Why do we have multiple proxies? Because we enable an adaptive playback experience, just like Netflix, identical technology. So automatically you can sniff that connectivity, deliver back a preview proxy that matches your connection, and that makes it way easier for you. What if you're on your phone? Example, right? You don't want to watch a 1080p proxy at 10 megabit. You want to watch a proxy that's much better and much more scalable for you previewing on your phone. And obviously with that timecode playback as well. All right? So I watch that content. What else do I have? I'm the owner of this media box. I have complete visibility to the activity stream. So that includes looking at when I created it, when I accessed it, but also the fact that I played that content back. Oh, and by the way, if I had played that content back and I got through 100% of watching that video, we'll mark it delivered. So then you will even know that those contents have been viewed, watched, or downloaded in its entirety. That helps you know that you accomplished what you set out to do. One of the other really popular features, and one that we just added a great enhancement to, is our video review. So that is whereby we can go into a much more detailed collaborative effort, and that includes going down to the frame level, play that content out, pause it, use the tool over here, identify kind of the size of the font or width there, make a comment. Whoop. All right. And pop into another part of the timeline. I hope. Grab a different tool. Okay, so you get the idea. Again, you can like and dislike, whatever it might be. Now, this is just me alone in this session, which is interesting, but it doesn't really paint the best picture, because what you really want to be doing is collaborating with your colleagues, your customers, your clients, executives, producers, whomever might be in parts of the workflow. And set a due date. I'm also going to add in a distribution list here. Mark that done. All of those folks in that distro list also now get an invitation in. They can come in at any point in time they want to. It's a secure login, so they need to log in and be registered. If they're not registered, it'll allow them to register, and they go right to the work session. They do not go to the workspace. They do not have access to the workspace. And that also means that I can allow them to make the comments. They make different threaded comments, provide their own annotation, whatever it might be, and then I can go ahead and download those as markers for an NLE, or I can also generate a PDF specifically for someone to have a visual by their side when they're going and making those edits and new cuts based on all that great feedback that they were able to accumulate in a collaborative session. New feature we recently added is what's called live session. So in that live session, I'm going to go back a little bit further up in the playback here. And what you're looking at here is the fact that I'm playing this back, and as other members join this session, this live session within the work session, they will be able to see exactly what it is and I'm playing back versus them playing something back. And if they wanted to take controls, they could take control. They could draw on the screen right here, like that, and that will point out something even while it's playing. You might have noticed before when I did annotation, you have to be paused in the frame to do so. In this, during the live session, you don't have to be paused. It will allow you to just point something out. For example, if you're on a conference call, there's 10 of you on the call, you're all watching this live session together while I'm controlling the playback. Someone can make a comment and a gesture around, hey, that's something we can't do from legal standpoint. We need to blur that out, or say we need to get approval from legal for having that product in the shot. Okay, great. Last bit that I'd like to just highlight is, it's really great that you have all this actively available content. And it's certainly something that we want people to get high value out of, having that for an active project or whatever it might be. But what about the long term? Again, I mentioned, no one wants to lose content. Everyone wants to keep at least a concept of having that content available. So you also can, basically archive content. So that'll take anywhere from 3 to 36 hours for that content to go into archive. And that means that it is now the source file is now being archived. It doesn't mean that you don't have visibility and access to the content. You do. And you have access to all the preview proxies, thumbnails, searchable metadata, the ability to even still use that content in a video review, in an image review, in a rough cut session, and sharing that content out in a media box. The only thing not available is just the source file. And if you need that source file back, you could just go ahead and restore it like I am over here in this particular situation. And I'll switch over to another team real quickly and just show that, let's say I have an example file that's already been archived and I want to restore that file. So I can go over here, hit restore, and you get two options. One that is a complete pullback to active status, and another one that is a pullback to a temporary restore, by which I'm going to push it back down to archive in 2 days. Because why would you have to remember something like that? And also, we're not charging you for that effort. Now, of course, if it goes back to permanent restore, active status, you're going to be working with actively stored content, and thus all of that is part of how the subscription and billing works. That being said, I've run through a variety of the main features and functionality we offer today. If anyone has any questions, our booth is over to the left over here. Please come by and ask any questions or ask for any specifics that you'd like to go through in another demonstration. Thanks so much, everyone. Thanks for coming by. Have a great rest of NAB.